The constant torment inflicted by Theo Silverton shows no signs of easing in Coronation Street. These days, even the idea of setting off his violent partner is enough to make Todd Grimshaw tremble. The manipulative abuser has methodically stripped away Todd's confidence and autonomy through relentless gaslighting, coercion, and physical intimidation. Lately, he has tightened his grip further by taking control of the finances. After the tragic death of Todd's closest friend, former partner, and only real support, Billy Mayhew, in the Corrie disaster, Todd has been clear as throat, drowning in sorrow. His fragile state has only deepened Theo's paranoia about being abandoned, especially since Theo was the one who secretly walked away and left Billy to perish. Following the funeral, Theo's cruelty escalated even more. He maintains dominance by belittling others and making them feel incompetent and insignificant. This tactic has allowed him to dictate Todd's movements, social life, and even his words. Just as he previously pressured Todd into strict dieting and exercise by shaming him about his body, Theo has now seized control of the household money by persuading him that he cannot manage it responsibly. In degrading scenes, Todd was forced to accept a joint account while Theo sliced his credit cards into pieces. With Theo now controlling every penny, Todd must practically beg for money just to buy groceries. When the spiteful tormentor traveled to Doncaster to see his mother, he deliberately left Todd with barely enough to survive. It was yet another calculated move carefully hidden from friends such as George Shuttleworth and Sarah Platt to prevent them from becoming suspicious. Todd is painfully aware that if Theo suspects him of spending too much, the repercussions could be terrifying. In scenes yet to air, Todd is pushed to the brink when he finds himself completely penniless. With Theo's birthday approaching and his early return from visiting his mom, Todd nervously asks for money to purchase a gift. Theo hands over £200, but coldly warns that the same amount must also pay for his celebratory dinner. Todd is horrified when he receives a message stating that his account is overdue and services will not resume until the outstanding balance is cleared. Suddenly, he urgently requires funds, and his survival may hinge on getting them. The soap has already hinted that the toxic saga between Todd and Theo might end in tragedy as it builds towards a gripping whodunit storyline. A flash-forward episode showed that Theo is among 5 possible murder victims at the wedding of Carla Connor and Lisa Swain, where Betsy Swain discovers a corpse. That same glimpse into the future showed Todd clutching a knife, seemingly driven beyond endurance by Theo's relentless abuse. Will Todd finally suffer the full force of Theo's fury? And could Theo ultimately pay with his life? Coronation Street actress reveals dramatic fallout for Shona as Jod's secrets unravel. When Shona Platt opened her door to Arunged half-sister Jodie Ramsey, she had no idea the newcomer was secretly determined to take her place within the family. Now Shona is finally set to catch Jod out in a deception, and the consequences could be explosive. Actress Julia Golding has teased what's ahead. Since her dramatic arrival during the Corrie crash storyline, Jod has carried an air of suspicion. She fled from the van of Graham Foster, spun a tale about escaping a violent father, and has carefully ensured that their troubled dad remains hidden away in a psychiatric unit where Shona cannot reach him. Though she shows clear signs of being dangerously obsessive, Jod hasn't yet unleashed her full fury in the way Becky Swain once did. For now, she is playing the doting aunt to baby Harper and presenting herself as unwavering support for Shona's husband, David Platt. Naturally, that kindness is far from genuine. Deep down, Jod harbors resentment towards Shona for leaving home as a teenage mother and abandoning her with their abusive parent. Her apparent strategy resembles a cuckoo infiltrating a nest, gradually replacing Shona within the Platt household by strengthening her bond with David and subtly turning niece Lily Platt against her own mom. And it seems to be having an effect. Julia Goulding has described the strain forming between Shona and David since Jod's arrival. She explains that hairline fractures best describe their situation. Both are exhausted and increasingly irritable, though their foundation remains intact. Still, those small cracks are widening under Jod's influence and could eventually become irreparable divides. As if Jod's scheming wasn't enough, Shona and David are also enduring every parent's worst fear as their premature daughter, Harper, faces serious health concerns. Harper was born with a cancerous growth on her neck, requiring neonatal intensive care and a scheduled operation on March 4th to remove it. Living under constant anxiety, the couple are shaken again when their baby suffers a minor bleed. Julia shares how this impacts Shona emotionally. She says Shona feels battered by relentless stress. Having operated in survival mode for so long, she is tense, emotionally spent, and physically depleted. At present, she believes that both David and Jod are her main sources of strength. Or so she thinks. While Shona and David focus on Harper's condition, Jod encounters another new mom who mistakenly assumes that Jod is Harper's mother and that David is her husband. When Shona walks in on Jod chatting about her daughter's surgery with a stranger, alarm bells ring. According to Julia, Shona's temper immediately flares. Initially furious, she demands to know what Jod is doing. However, Jod is quick-witted and adept at twisting situations to her advantage. Shona, emotionally drained and overwhelmed, lacks the energy to confront another crisis and chooses to believe her sister's explanation despite her doubts. But Jod's manipulation cannot last forever. Eventually, she is bound to slip up, and Shona may uncover the full extent of her deception. With the show's major murder mystery looming, that revelation could arrive sooner than expected, especially since Jod is among the 5 characters potentially facing a deadly fate. The question remains, would Shona go to extreme lengths to shield her family from her calculating sibling? Julia Goulding appears keen to see that fiery side return. She admits she would love to witness the comeback of Bad Shona, the tougher, more formidable version of the character. In her view, Shona has softened considerably, and it would be thrilling to see her reclaim that intimidating edge once more. Coronation Street will soon see Ronnie Bailey uncover yet another scheme orchestrated by Carl Webster, just as the looming murder storyline edges closer. Fans are already aware that Carl is among 5 residents tipped as possible victims in the dramatic death set to occur during the wedding of Carla Connor and Lisa Swain. Scheduled to air on the 23rd of April. The mystery was hinted at earlier this month through a flash-forward episode in which Betsy Swain discovered a lifeless body, sparking intense speculation about who meets their end alongside Carl. Other potential victims named in the storyline include Jodie Ramsey, Maggie Driscoll, Megan Walsh, and Theo Silverton. Having spent the past year evading accountability for the Corrie crash and allowing Debbie Webster to shoulder the blame, Carl has grown increasingly volatile, especially after discovering that Debbie is actually his mother. In episodes due to air on Tuesday, 3rd of March, Carl manipulates Debbie emotionally. Playing on her guilt until, clear as throat, she reluctantly hands over even more money. When Sally Metcalf overhears the exchange, she cautions Debbie that Carl is exploiting her generosity. Though Debbie instinctively defends her son, she privately recognizes the truth in Sally's warning. Behind bars, Debbie agonizes over her troubled bond with Carl as the mounting pressure begins to overwhelm her. Once Ronnie learns that Carl has been draining Debbie financially yet again, his reaction could change everything. A show insider reveals that Ronnie is growing increasingly worried about Carl's constant demands for cash. Debbie's lingering remorse over her past absence in Carl's life drives her to compensate now, but it's evident the cycle cannot continue indefinitely. The question remains, might Ronnie decide to intervene before the situation spirals further out of control? Addressing fan theories that Carl could be the character killed off, actor Jonathan Howard spoke to This Morning correspondent Sharon Marshall, joking that his character has been causing chaos across the cobbles. He admitted Carl has been wreaking havoc, swindling his mother, stealing his brother's wife, being involved in a hit and run with Tyrone Dobbs, and recruiting teenagers to steal cars on his behalf, hardly making himself popular. When it was noted that he was speaking in the past tense, Howard teased that viewers will simply have to wait and see what lies ahead. Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.